let's talk about how to fill out an ABC form. Now, the ABC form is used kind of in the beginning stages of when we're doing our functional behavioral assessment. So you would want to have different forms for the different settings. You can see here that we have a space for name, date, setting, and activity. So try to use a different form based on the particular setting you're observing, because you might see, well, you probably will see different behaviors in different settings. So this is a way to kind of separate and make sure we really look at patterns. So let's do a quick sample. Let's say our student's name is Evan, and we're observing on, we'll say January 26th at, I can't spell today, I guess, 2021 at 1:20 p.m. And we are in the ELA co-taught classroom. If you want to add some notes on, maybe how many people are there or things that might have an influence on Evan's progress in the classroom, you can also add that to setting. For example, let's say there's one teacher, 24 students, 4 students per table. The activity would be a writing assignment, maybe. So we know kind of what the demands are in this setting. Then you come down here, and here's where, we do the fun stuff, right? As you're observing, you're kind of waiting to see, you should already have some idea of what the challenging behavior is that you're looking for, or maybe there's a couple of them that you want to track. Sometimes, different challenging behaviors are actually related to a similar function. So make sure you know at least a little bit what you're kind of looking for here. If you have no idea of any challenging behavior, then I guess watch until you see something that seems problematic and then note that. So as soon as it happens, then you're going to write the time. Let's say it was 1:35. And then you write the antecedent. So what was the stimulus? What was the demand? What happened immediately before that challenging behavior occurred? So in this example, let's say the teacher prompts students to start the writing assignment. So he or she has prompted the whole class. So what happens with Evan? Evan asks his buddy Alex what he is writing. Right, that's a little problematic. It's not on task. It's probably not time to talk in the class. So what is the immediate consequence? Alex tells Evan it's none of his business. And then if sometimes that consequence then becomes an antecedent to an additional behavior. So, and that's kind of what we're going to say in this setting. So you could note that with some type of check mark, or, I would maybe write same as consequence or previous consequence. We're probably in the same time frame. So, if some time has passed, then of course you would change the time on the left column. But if it hasn't, then, that's it. So then we go to behavior. What happens with Evan at that point? Evan says he has a new app on his iPad. And then he asks or offers to show it to Alex. So why is this challenging? Well, we're certainly not doing the writing assignment, right? We're off into some distracted stuff. So then what does Alex do? Alex calls Evan lame. Oops. calls him a name, something like that. So again, can you see an escalating pattern happening here? So I'm going to repeat that same as previous consequence. And then what does Evan do next? Evan responds, calling Alex a jerk. So what does Alex do? Alex tells Evan to shut up. Hopefully that's all he says. All right, so at this point, we're seeing some escalation here. The teacher has taken notice. So what does the teacher do now? The teacher reprimands and tells the boys to start working. And this is why it's kind of important to do ABC observations outside of your teaching time. Like, it's not ideal that you try to teach and observe. It's really not going to give you clear data. So do your best to do observations in other settings and take your ABC data while someone else is teaching or leading that student. All right, so teacher responds, tells the boys to start working. So what does Evan do? Evan tattles. Alex is calling him names. So what does the teacher do? The teacher believes Evan fully and then reprimands Alex. All right, so we're gonna see again here that this response from the teacher also becomes an antecedent to Evan laughing quietly. And what does Alex do? Alex tells Evan to shut up. Oops. To shut up or I'll shut you up. You can see this is not a good behavior pattern forming. We could definitely see this continuing to escalate. So sometimes when we're taking this ABC behavior, it's not just a one and done across the column. You may very well have kind of a stream of like mini behaviors. You could look at this as one like larger event, or also singular occurrences of certain behaviors. So ultimately, what you would do then is, continue watching for things like this. I would say based on this information, we have the target behavior, and if we operationalize it, it's probably something about Evan, not getting to work when he's prompted to. Looks like he's doing some task avoidance here by getting into it with Alex. So we're going to keep taking data on that in other settings and see if this pattern is different anywhere else. And that will help us then get to the next step. So as you're taking data, you might also run into, a long time where Evan's good, he's fine, nothing's wrong. So then you're getting toward the end of class, and maybe then the teacher prompts for some other thing that the students need to do, maybe some sort of task to get out the door or something. And again, we see Evan engaging in off-task behavior of some kind related to him not wanting to write. So you would take the data, you put the new time down, and then you take that data. Give a little space between. So I would probably come down here and write the new time, and then start this. So we see a clear gap between the one behavior and the other. Okay, that's it for that. It's really pretty basic. Try the best you can to just write what happens and not try to input any sort of feelings, emotions, or judgments on that situation. Like literally just write down what you see happening. Because over time that will, especially if you have several environments that you do this kind of data collection in, you'll start to see some patterns. All right, thanks everybody. Hope you found this helpful, and good luck.